Hello, hello. Buenas noches. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Serious Tejano and Let's Talk Tejano. I'm Miss Mary out of Dallas, Texas, and I have George Medina, and we have a special guest with you all tonight. We have Jose with us. I'm so excited. So, welcome to the
Yeah.
show.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Welcome, everybody. We want to thank you for joining us here on Serious Tejano. I'm going to let George introduce himself, and then we'll move right on over to Jose.
Welcome everyone on this Monday, hot Monday. We're just talking about the weather, but thank you for joining us tonight. We got Mr. Jose Garza tonight. We chit chat a little bit while we're waiting to get on there, and he's got a lot of good stuff to share with us. So let's get started.
All
Yeah,
right,
let's do
Jose,
it.
let's introduce yourself.
Hey guys, well I'm Jose. I've been recording some music for quite a while now. First of all, let's start off with thank God for another day of life. We woke up and we're dealing with the heat, but we can't complain about too much. So praise God for that. And also the second thing that I had down on my notes here to not forget is that today is Santiago Garza of La Naturaleza and Jose Pops Garza, my dad. They're both celebrate the same day birthday. So happy birthday to them and hope they're having a great day.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday to your dad and your brother. Happy birthday! May God bless them on this special day. That's really cool that they share a birthday. That just shows how
Yeah.
like connected y'all are.
Sure, sure. And you know what? We have actually a cousin up in Idaho as well, Lalo Flores, who celebrates the same birth date. So happy birthday to him as well. It's just all part of the family.
So let me ask you this: with your dad having the same birthday as your brother, you know how siblings have close birthdays, you got to celebrate together.
Uh
was that
huh.
ever an issue with
I,
dad
I
and
think
brother?
I think I think they've always done it, but they've always been more than happy to do it because one plays the accordion, the other one plays the bajo sexto, so they just play music all day long, cook out, and they're just having a blast. So it works out for both of
Awesome.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a perfect storm right there, man.
The perfect storm. Oh, yes, and don't put any beer in between them because then that's the end of it. The music will never end.
Yeah, yeah. I'm with a warning label as well. So
Especially when
so
it comes to galas, huh?
especially when it comes to galas, man. I'm gonna sew it on my shirt tag next time I'm out there, man.
I'm gonna get in the shirt says not this round but the next round.
Yeah,
The
do
next
not
one,
feed
the
the
next
animal.
one.
That is right. We had the pleasure
Insane.
of meeting you back in March for the first time. Now I've seen you a couple times since, but in March we got to meet you and hang
Yeah,
out with
yeah,
you, and you got to participate in the gala a little bit. But let's talk about your career. How far back? Because I mean, we know your dad is a musician and your brother is a musician, but let's talk
sure.
about you. When did this love of music
Yeah.
start for you?
Well, you know what? It's all incorporated in the same because obviously my dad being a musician, that's how he fed us and that's how we were raised, on music and being fed through music and also learning music as well, learning the instruments, learning how music works all together. So it all started at a very, very young age. Of course, my dad being the bajo sexto player, and the vocalist, that kind of left that off the table. So you had your pick: either learn the accordion, learn the drums, or learn how to play bass. Well, I have Santiago and I have another brother. We share another brother, Efren, who is an accordion player as well and played the accordion in my dad's band. So that singled that out. And then Santiago was really good on the drums. To begin with, he was just the drummer, and he was amazing at it. So that threw me on the bass. So I had to learn how to play the bass. The problem with learning how to play the bass is that I'm a little more animated and I move a little faster and I tend to just overexcite myself. So playing the bass was not the position for me. I couldn't keep that timing to stay in one place at all times. So I started to venture out from there and slowly tried to follow in my dad's footsteps and played a little bit of bajo with a few Houston guys, Marky Lee, Grupo Caliente, just a whole bunch of guys, and just started to move forward from there and really realized that knowing the instruments um, made it really easy to start composing songs, composing music. And then from there, really, that's when lyrics started to come to me a lot easier, and I just started writing songs. So with the basic of the instruments that I knew, and learning, the lyrics and feeling and growing, growing up and going through relationships or family members passing away or when you learn a lot, and you put that feeling into songs, and that's where I've ended up and where I'm at, and I think that's the best fit or has been the best fit for me.
So you all have just learned through your family. You didn't have like formal
Yes.
lessons and formal settings, or did you? Did you have someone formally teaching you other than your father?
Well, I would have to. Yeah. Well, other than my father, no, but that was pretty much
Yes.
formal enough. And it was informal, informal as well, because it wasn't like you're going to the principal's office. No, it was go break a switch off the tree since you can't learn this. And it doesn't matter if you pick the thickest or the thinnest. Either way, you're
Vas
gonna
a
do it.
aprender
No,
hoy.
I'm
That's
just
what
kidding. That
he
was too
said.
much.
Yeah.
What's up,
What
then?
what
That's what he would say. But no,
more
but I mean,
motivation could you want, man?
I mean, come on. How can you not love
Yeah.
music after that? No, speaking for myself, that was it. That's where I received most of that knowledge was from my dad, but not just the I guess knowing how the instruments work and what they're supposed to sound like and keys, notes, and the whole bit, but the business aspect behind it, which was very important for me because it's one thing to be a musician and it's another to be able to run the business and be a businessman and run it. I mean, you're talking about production, you're talking about the recording, you're talking about distribution, you're talking about just a whole bunch of things, music videos. There's a lot behind it, getting your music distributed if you're doing it on your own. So yeah, it was, I would have to say, very formal with my father. And then again, maybe you guys can very soon interview Santiago, which I believe you have him tomorrow, is what you said, and he can discuss his methods and how he learned music and whatnot.
Most definitely. I mean, and I'm not trying to downplay formal setting with anybody but I'm just saying, like, was it a
Sure.
school, was it anything? Because we all learn differently, but I know that there are schools out here in the Texas area, which I grew up in Colorado, and we didn't
Sure.
have schools that had mariachi or conjunto sounds. Like, so, like
Hmm.
being a part of like this part of Texas and different parts, they introduced that at young ages, which is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's growing. I've actually seen that. I've been able to, uh, 2 years back to back now, 24 and 25, been able to host those. They're called the Duelo competitions in the Valley, and those are all the high schools competing for instruments, and whatnot. And these guys are just so talented. It's amazing. They've already got the talent, and then when you get that formal education, wow, these guys are amazing. And that's honestly, that is the future of music that we have to look forward to, and it's going to be great because these guys are just amazing. And of 25, that was a graduating class. Like these guys were seniors. That was it. That was all they're going to have. And I can tell you, they can go and become Intocable already. They can be Duelo. They can be all these guys because they've got that talent and that discipline to know, hey man, if we work at it and not just start releasing music like crazy and throwing it out there, that will be okay because they've also got that education of how to do it professionally. So yeah,
which
definitely.
Right, and
which
that
is
and
very
that's
important.
yeah, it is. That's a good course because not everybody had the way you got brought up with music. Not a lot of people have musicians in their
Hmm.
family, but a
Sure.
classroom type setting up. Oops, sorry. The classroom type setting obviously can set the tone, precedent for what they want to do with that in the future. Even if it's just for picking it up
Yeah.
as a hobby.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. And I guess growing up for us, and I'm gonna have to say, in all honesty, probably about 85% of the musicians in the industry right now, whether it be norteño or conjunto or tejano or whatever it may be, um, we in a way know each other, have all interacted with one another growing up. And we're talking about my dad had us performing when we were kids in his band, um, at local bars, local clubs, whatnot. And then I remember other musicians that would be playing at the flea markets, all around San Antonio. Traders Village, in Dallas has been, or Grand Prairie has been around forever. We lived in, like I told you, Oak Cliff for a while, so
Oh,
we'd go
Cliff.
to Oak Cliff, baby. We'd go to Traders Village, and you'd watch all the bands. So most of these again, 85% of the musicians now had family members in the music and helped them to learn, appreciate, or motivate them to become musicians. What I'm seeing now is that there's kids who just love the music and go out and search it for themselves and find it and learn how to play the instruments. With the schools that are teaching them now, it's just amazing for kids who don't have family members who are musicians.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
and,
and then
and we
the
definitely
instruments as well, right? Because I mean, I know Mary's been wanting to learn how to play accordion for a minute, so not too late to learn, go in
I'm
there,
gonna learn
dress up
one
as
day.
Never.
a.
I'm gonna learn.
But those instruments can be pretty costly for a lot, especially a lot of families these days with the cost of living and all that. I mean, the instruments are provided in the classrooms.
From what I understand, yes, because I know that a lot of businesses donate either money or the actual instrument. I know that in the past, both Santiago and I have been able to donate instruments. So I know that it also comes from musicians wanting to help future musicians. I know Max Baca has sent over a few bajos. Um, just a lot of things. Sunny Sauceda represents, a whole bunch of let's say organizations that they also sponsor instruments to the winners, first, second, third place, whether it be accordion, bajo, drums, bass, vocalists. Yeah, it is costly. So things like that does help a student no matter what. And honestly, because there's such demand for the music right now, and there really is. I mean, I think they need to do a study on that. Um, just like vehicles and just like anything else. I mean, demand goes up, so does the price of the instrument or the vehicle. And right now, I mean, accordions are in the neighborhood of $2,500 up to who knows what, $6, 7, $8,000. So sure, beginners don't need to have that expensive, but again, it is if you have a really good instrument, it's going to help you sharpen up yourself a lot better anyway. So put it to work, and it's worth it.
It's so awesome to know that there are musicians working behind the scenes because often on this side, right, on the fan side of music, we don't get to see all that unless we're a part of those programs or have family members that are a part of those programs. So that is really awesome to know that there are musicians helping the future of our music, and we often talk about that here on our podcast. On Let's Talk to Hano is we have to embrace change. We have to embrace the different styles of music, but also teach our kids, bring them to festivals, bring them to the concerts, to introduce them to the music because growing up, I wasn't listening to Tejano or Conjunto music, but I was because of my parents. That wasn't my first choice.
Yeah,
But
of course.
as I grew up and they introduced me to it, I fell in love with the music, and I'm so glad that they did. But it's up to us as the older parents and the tios and the tias to introduce that music to them, and even if they don't want to hear it, to really show them that this is our culture. It's not just a genre of music.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely agreed. And it was, I do remember things like that. Of we hadn't really learned music yet. I was the oldest son, right? So I was caught in between being the designated driver and learning music, right? So my dad would take me with him most of the time to drive home. For some reason, I don't know why. Driving there was no problem. It was driving back.
Hey, not
um,
not all of us, not all of us can see at night, man.
exactly, exactly. But it was also a learning or a teachable opportunity because I mean it's a bar situation and I'm just a kid. I'm way too young to be in a bar. But my dad would find the table closest to the stage. He'd get me a Sprite and he'd get me a bag of Cheetos. And he'd sit me there and he'd say, "Do not get up, no matter what. Do not move from there, and you pay attention to everything that's going on this stage." And that's how it would go. But you see, back then, my dad's been playing music for 61 years now. 61. He's been in the industry, and
Wow.
and back then these guys had to work for their money like really bad. It was like 4 to 5 hour gigs, and most of the time they'd have to do an hour and a half straight and then get a 15-20 minute break and then get back on and finish off the night another hour and a half or two. So for a kid like me who really wasn't interested in music or didn't realize that he was interested in music, it was a death trap. It was just so boring and so long, and one Sprite and one bag of chips could only last so long, and you'd get bored, and I'd start to walk around a little bit and you'd hear my dad on the microphone, and he'd call me Junior, siéntate, ¿qué estás haciendo? Siéntate. And it's like he's playing and they're singing and people are dancing and he's still getting after me. It's like, okay, I get it. But it was more of like, hey, you're not concentrating here, man. Sit down, watch what's going on, and you get it. And it sinks in after a while. And then you start to realize, yeah. And I guess my point was, I would see at different places where they weren't bars, they weren't lounges. Let's say they were quinceañeras or weddings, and the family is there, and the kids are there, and the kids are participating, the kids are dancing, and to me, it was like, wow, like these guys are actually enjoying this. What am I complaining about? Like I should be up on stage by now, performing and whatnot. So you start to realize, hey, this is our culture. It is a part of us, and if we don't contribute in one way or another, it's gonna go away, and we don't want that to ever happen.
Yeah, that's exactly what we talk about. The passing of the baton to the upcoming artists, new artists, young artists. Because as much as we love our legends, which I love them to death, big fan. Uh, you know, the only thing that's going to stay immortal is the music. You know, and
Yep.
something to capitalize on. And it's a hard subject to discuss. It's part of life and it's part of the business. So that's
It,
something we
it,
really
it's
talk
true.
about here. You know, we talk
Yeah,
about
no,
that, and
and
then we
that's
you know
good
we
to
get
have.
artists like you here, who grew up with the music, who still,
Mhm.
I guess, you're still kind of. I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong here, but you're still kind of on the evolution wave of where Tejano is going, or where you think it might be going with your influence in the genre. It's got some high hopes, man. We just got to expose it.
Absolutely, and I agree with you 100%. And it is tough. I mean, there is a lot of musicians, and there is a lot of new music every single day, new videos, and the whole bit. But that's a good thing. It keeps the music going. I think that's where we need to get sense. We know the talent is there. We know are there. We know the opportunities are limitless as far as releasing music, distributing music, and the whole bit. But we need to get back to the business portion of it, and let's form a team or form something to where it can be released accordingly on a timely manner or a certain amount of time throughout the year so that they can be heard. Because once it's on and you guys play it, there's already 50 songs behind you that same week waiting to be played. And I know there's a rotation, and I need people to understand, the listeners and whatnot. The rotation is huge, so it takes a long time to come back around. So new music is necessary, And again, I believe in our legends and what they've done for us, and what they've put in place for us. But it's time for also for new artists to get the opportunity, and it does have to stick. It does have to sound good, and it does have to be well prepared. So there's a difference, mass production versus quality, right? Quantity, quality. Let's get some quality out there.
Yeah, and that's exactly where that's where I was going. My point with your point in my head, it's more about the
Mm-hmm.
quality than the quantity. Because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we've seen it happen where albums got spit out consecutive, bam, bam, bam. Here comes another one, comes on, and the music was great. Obviously, it was
Yeah.
because it kept genre going for such a long time. But now we're in a different state now where we have to make sure that the quality is there. Sound,
Sure.
everything that comes along with the composition of music and all that. We have to make sure that the quality is there, and that's a good point of view right there. A good point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I
Yeah,
agree with
we
you.
we often talk about the new music and how important it is, how vital it is, right? We have a lot of talent out here, and you hit the nail pretty much how I say it all the time. We can celebrate our classics and our traditional sounds and our artists that paved the way and laid that foundation for us, but it's okay for us to kind of stretch outside the bounds and open our ears to new music because it has to evolve. Every type of music has evolved, and country has evolved, rock, and you could still listen to your classics, but you're gonna open your ears to new music, and we have to do that as Tejano and Conjunto fans. It's absolutely necessary, and there's
Absolutely.
so much talent out there. And like Serious Tejano and the Triple M Show, Let's Talk Tejano, we firmly believe in opening those, trying to open the door and say, hey, just listen to this song real quick. And we firmly believe in that because we love the music so much.
Yeah, and again, hearing both of you guys speak, and you guys are well spoken. Me, let's say, I just turned 50 years old in July, right? So it's been a while, of new music coming out and pushing out, and everybody has that. All of us who grew up musicians in the family. We just want to keep our family's tradition going, um, which is great. So I also understand that DJs, prior to y'all, or prior to the past 10 years or whatnot, I understand they've been pushing their genre or their era, of music, and it's great, and they still continue to do it. I get it, I mean, music should never die; it should continue. But folks like y'all, who are doing the shows now, the podcasts, and the whole bit, you guys actually have the platform, right? That's what it is, and you guys have that power to help push the new music. Because again, if there's new artists coming out wanting to keep the tradition, the culture alive, well, then you guys are the DJs and have the capability to keep that going as well. So it is a serious teamwork, and not to be biased and to be one-sided. You got to open your ears up. That's the whole point. You're not looking at anything. You're just listening, and if it sounds good, it belongs where it should be.
Right. And you said it well. Like, if there is someone that wants to keep this music going, you know, why not celebrate them? Rest in peace, Flaco Jimenez. He laid down a
Yes,
great
yes.
foundation. We
Hmm.
have artists that are retiring from the music scene. Look what Shelly's doing. She's now
Yeah.
teaching. Elida is retiring. Bobby is retiring. What's going to happen? We can only hear those songs so often, right? Like, we
Sure.
need. I don't think it's we. I don't think anyone realizes how important it is for us to get new music to keep it going, because you're going to hear the same song, like kind of what happened back in the 90s, when we had radio stations that were only playing certain songs that kind of diminished the they diminished the sound for new artists, the voice of new artists, because they were only playing certain bands over and over again, and that kind of hindered. And now we have social media at our fingertips. You can watch a
Yeah.
podcast, you can go on an app, you can go on TikTok, Facebook, all the social medias, and you can listen to a new artist if you really wanted to. So, like, the
Yeah.
power is there, and it takes all of us, and that's what we try to incorporate to our fans. Of Let's Talk Tejano, as we say, you are just as vital as the artists and the DJs and the labels, and we bring them all together here to talk about it, because we're all vital. If there's no artist to make music, then there's nothing for the DJ to play. If there's nothing for the DJ to play, there's nothing for the artists, for the fans to hear from the artists. So if we all work hand in hand, everyone is so important. So that's what we
Hmm.
try to incorporate and teach on Let's Talk Tejano, and here on Serious Tejano, is we want them to know how vital it is. And celebrate new music like yourself. Like, you have this new song. So I know we learned a little bit about your past, and you played with a couple of bands. Let's talk about a little bit of what brought you to coming to your own single. Is this your first single? And let's
No,
talk
no.
about a little bit of that.
I cut you off there. I cut you
No,
off
no,
there.
no, you're fine.
Uh, no, no, it's not. It's not my first single, and it's just gonna, piggyback right off of what we've been talking about. So when I finally felt comfortable, expressing my feelings, or letting out, let's say, pain, hurt, joy, whatever it may be. I was able to work with a good friend of mine, a great producer, Eddie Perez. Eddie Perez music, La Llave, Key of E music. That is him. And when I gave him my ideas, as let's say, as an artist, or let's just say as a human being, you kind of don't want to share your feelings. I mean, especially if it was hurt, right? It might be embarrassing. You don't want anybody to laugh at you or whatnot. But the only way, and I guess this is where people need to come back, and whether it's Tejano or country or rap or whatnot, it's feelings. It's expressing your feelings. If you're happy because you just bought a brand new car, and you throw a rap to it, it sounds great, right? I mean, you can do the same with your music, and you apply the instruments. So I knew that Eddie Perez could do that. If I strummed a little bit of bajo and gave him a riff of this and said, "Hey, yeah, this is the flow that I want. This is what I'm looking for." I mean, I'd send him something on the bajo, a recording of the bajo, and then before you knew it, he already had the whole music composed. And he says, "Okay, well, now since you sent me a voice track, this is what I've applied to it. Now let's knock it out." And so my first album with him was me singing about all the tracks on there pretty much were me about going through a divorce, and the separation and dealing not just with let's say the problems beforehand, but the problems before, the problems during relationship leading to divorce, and then also through divorce. So it was a 10 song album. Um, what was great about it is that the main single off of that song um, was a to do with Stephanie Montiel, which at that time, who are you? I think that's the way it went down. When I was in the studio with Eddie, he's like, man, we need one more song. What do you got? What do you got? And I said, really, I'm tapped out. And there's a gentleman by the name of René de la Cerda of Grupo Daño. He says, hey, man, I've got this song. I've got the lyrics. I'll send them over to you. See what you can do with them. Uh, Eddie Bettis in return said, hey, man, let me know when you've put a melody to it. Let me know when you put something to it, and then let's start working on it. Well, I was so close to finishing the album. I wanted to be done with the album. I took it home, and I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't find it and whatnot. And that song was actually the way to sum up why the relationship didn't work. Hasta Nunca is the name of the song with Stephanie Montiel. And it was something that I found a way of, had my, let's say, ex-wife been able to tell me why things didn't work out, or why we were at the point that we were at of divorce, this was the song that did it. And when I sang it, when I finally put melody to it and sang it, I realized this is a duet. And so when I took it back to the studio, I took it to Eddie, and he's like, well, what do you hear as a duet? I said, right here, right here. He says, yeah, but what would the girl part be? And I said, right here. He says, well, sing it like a girl. I'm like, dude, what do you want me to like? So there I am, and he's like, that actually sounds pretty good. So we recorded it a certain way, and filled in a patch, with the women's vocals and that. And he looks at me straight up and says, who do you think would be best on this? I said, well, I know who would, but it's impossible. He says, well, who you think? And I said, Stephanie Montiel. He says, you're crazy, man. It's never going to happen. He said, not that he said, who are you? He says,
Right.
you're new to the industry, man. It's going to be difficult. I said, here's what I would like to say. You pitch it to them, because you've been in the industry forever. They know you. You work with them in the whole bit, and this is what I'm pitching. And he took it to them. They Gabriel Zavala and Stephanie agreed to do it. I mean, we put a video behind it as well. I mean, it just turned out amazing. So Hasta Nunca featuring Stephanie Montiel was my first single release with the album Serie de Eventos Desafortunados. Too much of a title to have put on for a first album, but it's out there. And I've released many singles since, just to keep things flowing. But I took a step back, because I realized that what we were talking about, I hadn't helped anybody. It turned into me, and I never took a look back to realize, not that I left anybody behind, not that I was on top of the world, nothing like that. Just that I found a niche. I found a way to get there, because again, we were conjunto bands. We were a conjunto band with my dad playing, making a living. That's what we were doing. But it's not that you want to be bigger and better, but you learn, so it turns into bigger and better. You know what I mean? So when I realized that I was now in the Tejano world, and accepted and moving forward, I wanted to bring all my buddies with me. Everybody who was back there. Corpus Christi, the Valley, Dallas, Houston, everybody. So I reached out to everybody there, and I said, "Hey guys, I don't think that they've realized that I learned the secret to how they got here and what it takes to release music properly and to do the whole bit. Come and join me." Not too many joined me, but I
Mhm.
had to go back to help. And again, hadn't released anything new, because I've been in the background helping others, that finally I was able to catch up with myself, and it was time to release some music. And there is Quédate.
So you've
Too
you've
much?
been on a journey. Like you're not new. I really hope that people understand that you've been on this journey, and they can follow all the songs that you've released on all the music media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
It's Jose with the little I don't know what they call it.
I don't know if it's an Enya. We can call it an
No, the
apostrophe,
Enya is the
but
little.
it's
It's a
not an
little.
Enya. Then I guess we'll have to
It's the.
see if
That's what.
anybody listening right now knows what it is. We'll call it a
Put it in the comments. But
I usually call it a squeaky, but that's just me.
the squiggly.
it's just a little. It's a.
Yeah.
It's Jose with the at the end, and I put it there in the comments here on the live. You can follow him on all the music media platforms. It has all of his songs that he's released. Go follow, request, download, stream them all, not just his newest song, Quédate, which we're gonna hear in just a few minutes. But go follow. It has all of his songs that he has released, and you can follow him for any new music that will come up. If you follow them on music media platforms and hit that little heart, it helps them grow in their genre, but it also helps you get notifications when new songs are released or when they're fixing to release something. So that's important, and we always suggest that. Request them wherever you see Tejano music is being played. Request Jose with the little at the end, and then follow them on all the music media platforms. But you have such a journey, and I wanted you to talk about that because this isn't your first time, and you have such a great insight. Even though you're, and we can talk about this a little bit, but like the conjunto side, and then the Tejano side, like. Do you feel at this point it's important for us to kind of just let that label, like who cares if you're a conjunto artist or a tejano, or do you feel like it's important to keep those titles, the names up? Do you feel like it's at this point even matter anymore?
We're gonna we're gonna approach that again in a business sense, right?
Yes.
There is a difference because again we're gonna call those genres, right? There's the conjunto genre, there's the tejano genre, there's the norteño, there's the regional. There is an established genre there. A lot of the not many. So that in the tejano industry, every 10 years, maybe 12 years, you'll see a conjunto band bleed into the tejano. I think the one that was the most noticeable, or the two that were most noticeable, was the hometown boys. Obviously, when they came in, boom, instantaneous, right? Fame, boom, boom. And I remember being told, by a couple of musicians that played with the hometown boys that Ricky you would say, or Joe Martinez would say that it took them 30 years to become an overnight success, right? So I always remember that because you mentioning right now, I've been in it forever, right? But I released a new song and I was like, hey, new artist, Jose, it's like, dang it, I'm still a new artist. But it's okay. At least the music is getting played. That's what's important. Everything else, if people know you, they know you, and that's what it is. But a conjunto band bleeds into the tejano industry, and it's necessary because everybody likes to dance. Everybody likes to have a great time. And when you hear a conjunto band, it's completely different. It's different from when you've got the horns jamming or the keyboards jamming or whatnot. There's a feeling you get from that kind of music, and then you get a different kind of feeling from the conjunto music. So it is very necessary. Right now, the conjunto cats have been the most recent conjunto band to be accepted into the tejano industry, and they are tearing it up. They're doing amazing. And again, Art Campos and his sons, they have been doing this forever. I mean, forever. Art Campos used to, be in the industry way before I was. I ran into Art Campos and we played in a band together. Art Campos went and played with Santiago for a while as well. And then Art, formed Conjunto Cats, and he has stuck to it. And it's been amazing for him. So yes, there is a segregation there. There is a difference between the conjunto and the tejano, and I think both parties want it that way. I think both want to be distinguished as, I'm not a tejano musician, I'm a conjunto musician. There are different riffs that you play on the bajo to make it sound conjunto. The accordion is obviously played differently, and not to say anything bad about either one. It is what it is. The accordion for the conjunto music is nonstop because that's what conjunto is. It is just raka 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 the entire time. That's what animates the people. That's what keeps them dancing, whatnot. Where when you go into the Tejano, it's more to fill in the emotion. You know, you got feelings. You got, it's just the melodies at the right time at the right place. So answering your question the long way around it without getting myself into too much trouble, it's going to be necessary, and it will always be necessary to distinguish conjunto and tejano, and the music alone should say it.
And
Now,
I
now let
love
me
the
ask you. Well,
explanation. I love the sorry, I love the explanation. Thank you. Go ahead.
that was a
Hmm.
good explanation, and kind of circling, but I'm going to circle wagon around one more time on this one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. Bring it
this is
around,
my this
smoke
is
it.
my point of view. Is the backlash really necessary? I mean, especially when it's going to contribute to both and benefit both genres. Is a backlash really necessary these days? Like, in other words, beggar can't be choosy these days in our genre, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Uh, you know, it is what it is. I think that it becomes, again. I keep touching back just because that has always been the most important thing that stands out to me would be the business. I I know I know that I won't do a job for free. I mean, whether it be chopping wood, selling some of my cattle, whatever it is, nothing is free. And then there's also the negotiating process, right? Here's my price, but I, since you're not considered tejano, but you're really good conjunto and the whole bit, then they get knocked down. So it's not so much just the musicians from both parties maybe backlashing or butting heads with one another. Again, it goes back to promoters or whatnot, trying to get the best deal. Which again, as a businessman, as a negotiator, you want the best deal possible. But just because one is stamped Tejano and one is stamped Conjunto does not mean you get to negotiate the price down to the bottom dollar. So I guess that's why there is sometimes some backlash because, well, I could have gotten so and so for this amount. I don't really need this type of music today, but let me know if you're willing to work for the price I told you on the next one. And then you kind of create backlash.
I mean, I wonder about that more these days. I mean, I've been a kind of fan. I'm not a musician. I'm not a DJ. I'm just a fan. This is from a fan's perspective. And when
Fans point of
Tejano kind
perspective.
of, yeah, when Tejano kind of started phasing out a bit, uh, I think the one thing I hear about Duelo, Solido, people like that, oh man, they're not Tejano, they're norteño, norteño cumbia, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, great. It is what it is, but we're still listening to it. I mean,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never understood that side of the business where they feel like they gotta. I think Mary and I, we've always touched on this. The labels kind of play a big role in people's way of thinking, and their basically, it's almost like once you put that label on something, it kind of changes your mindset where you have to think a certain way of something. If it weren't for the
Agreed.
labels, it would be an open forum for Tejano. It'll be the big spectrum Tejano. It'll be a bigger genre. But with the labels, that's I never really understood. I understand rock and roll. I understand Billy Rock. I understand blues, rap, so and so. But with Tejano, I'm sorry, man. That's just to me. That's just one big. It's just one big old cake for me. All different flavors. That's just my point of
I,
view.
I, I, I get you. I think that's where, and again, me just being me. I'm not talking for anyone else other than myself. Is I think that's where there needs to be something put in place to where there has to be a boss. There has to be a Trump in there somewhere to say, all right, everybody, bring me your music labels. Bring me your artists that you're going to release this year. Not every artist you have, but let's take your top 5 artists for 2026 right now. We're not waiting until 26. We want them right now by the third quarter, right? And all you labels, bring me 5 of your best artists, and then we're gonna dwindle all that down. We're gonna sit a whole bunch of really good musicians. We're gonna put Patsy Torres down. We're gonna put Shelly Lares down. We're gonna sit these people down with the experience, and they're gonna help. They're gonna panel the top 5 from every label, and they're gonna narrow it down to two per label, and then for 2026, be it 20 new artists, be it 25, then you release a single from each one, and then you see how the people respond to that, how the rotation is going, because just like any other industry in the music, you have your first, second, and third place. I mean, sorry, I still believe in competition. I mean, that's what it is. You've taken your life lessons and you're applying them to be the best that you can be, because you're it's not just about you, it's about who you're representing, your family or your industry or your culture, right? And that's how you do it. And then you slowly start adding another artist every now and then. But when it's so, and the word is saturated with so many people, and there is no boundaries, there's no laws, it's just keep throwing it out here, guys, keep throwing it. Oh, that one sounds good. Now you forgot about the other guy who was working really hard on it. Not that anyone's working harder than the other guy, but there has to be a specific time to release an artist. Too many is too many, and I'm guilty of that too, because look, here I am, I took a 2 year hiatus, and now I'm throwing another single out there. It's like, play it, Mary. You guys got to play it now, you know. Well, I'm just trying to keep up with everybody else as well, and to be heard, and to still represent my family, you know, Garzas, and to represent the culture, you know, as we're moving on in this world of music.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, well, the Tejano communities out there, and that's a great idea. And I think if anybody should head is somebody like you with your mindset, with you know,
Hey,
with the way of
I'm
thinking,
up.
you know. But we have quite a bit of Tejano communities out there. Why hasn't this brought up before? I mean, basically, we're almost talking survival, Tejano survivor, almost, you know, in a way. Not that we're booting anybody out, you know, but it's getting to that point. Our mindset is getting to that point, like you just on that. It's got to. You said you're competitive. I think competition brings out the best in everyone, you know, and it should be something like that. It should be a structure that way, you know. It'll make everybody else hungry
Yeah,
again.
well, that's it. That's it. You get hungry again, and both the artist and the listener. I mean, it's just the way that it goes, and then you'll have a much more organized, let's say, award ceremonies, right? Award shows. It'll be way more organized that way, because it's not, oh, him again, oh, her again, oh, the same guy because they've been here for 30 years. No, no, it doesn't have to be that way, because it's all been filtered properly, and there's a chance for everybody, and there's a time for everyone. I mean, not everybody who can run the fastest is in the Olympics, right? I mean, they might be really, really, really fast, but they're just not as fast as the other guys. So you take the cream of the crop and you run with it. That's just me talking, guys, but we'll see what can
No.
happen in the future.
Good point of view. This is what we're here for, man. Obviously to
Yeah.
showcase you, but to hear these different points of views, because you know, if we were to write everything down with past artists that Aaron and I have talked to and DJ Lee have talked to, yeah, we boiled down to five good bullet points, but it's different points of views outside of that as well that you know brings a lot of benefit to this. You know,
Yeah, yeah, and again, that would also help with the labels, right? With a label, you know, there a specific rule, not just having to pay a fee, right? Not just paying a fee, but specific rules on, this is what makes you an approved label with us. In order for us to consider your artist, this is the proofs that you have to provide in order to be considered one of the labels that will have his artist thrown into the pool of consideration. You know, there's so much there. And I think for me, it's that I'm at that point now where I just love the music. I've always loved it. I've seen it from growing up as a kid, and watching people get married, people get engaged to it, you know, fall in love to it, whatever it may be, that I'm now moving towards the point of being able to be something else within the industry, not an artist anymore, but more of a help, a bigger help than what I've tried to be in the past. Some sort of I don't know, uh, a helpful person to those who may not know how to get there.
So that's where you see yourself going next, making music and
Possibly,
helping the next generation or the next artist.
I think where I would like to be is just to help establish the new rules for the next wave, and then it give me a Hall of Fame award, and I'm out. You know, somebody else take it from there.
Go. We're manifesting this. Yes, I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Big saludos to everybody that's hanging out real quick. I want to give some shout outs to everybody that's watching. Thank you all that are sharing, tapping, liking, all of what's necessary. We have Elias out there in Austin, Desiree, Leslie, Mel, Anna, Terry, Daniela, Inalcanzable, DJ Andres, Raymond, Norma, saludos. They're everybody hanging out. We have Joel Johnson, saludos. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this evening. We're fixing to hear his music, so tap to share. We're gonna drop his song here if you haven't heard it. I know you got a little bit of a teaser on it, but we do want to give a big shout out to everybody that's watching and hanging out with us. I know we have Michigan in the house. So thank you, Colorado. Thank you all that are tuned in, and anybody that replays this, we appreciate you tuning in and listening to our conversation about the Hana music. It's not just about interviewing; it's about learning the other side because I think it's important. Like I think George, he downgrades himself. He says, "I'm just a fan," but fans are just as important, right? Because we need that perspective and we need that input of what a fan really feels about the music. So, if you guys have any questions for Jose or ourselves, put them in the comments, and we will get that answered throughout the interview here. Um, so we talked a little bit about you putting out new music, and another hot topic that we get asked a lot about, Jose, is covers and
Yeah.
a newer band making covers, right?
Hmm.
Like, what if I can ask, what is your stance on cover music as and I don't want to say new artist, but an artist that may not have like 50 years in the business because we know they make covers too. We know that,
Sure.
some of the bigger bands, we talked about this last week, Marcos Orozco, Hometown Boys, they do a lot of covers, but they put their spin on it. What is
Yep.
your stance for a newer band that comes out singing a cover at a club or produces one?
Okay. So many different areas to touch on that, right? Um, we'll go back to the basics, right? I think that's the way a lot of self-taught musicians that are extremely talented begin. They find a song or an artist that they like, and they want to learn that song, and they want to be precise with it, and they want to show that they're capable, that they have the same abilities to do so. Yeah, it's good when it turns into habit and all you do is somebody else's song note for note for note for note and sing it exactly the same, and that's not your voice, like that's not what you sound like when you're talking, and then all of a sudden you sound like, I think we were talking about Barry White earlier, and then your voice and then your voice and then your voice comes out like mine when you're talking to this person. It's like, what? Well, that is wanting to be somebody that you're not. um
Mm.
so don't do it that way. Don't do a cover that way. Also, if you're gonna do a cover, add your own life into it. Add your own reasoning as to why. There's nothing wrong if you're doing a cover because you like the lyrics. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's something about that lyric that caught you, and it expresses something within you that you feel. So you want to let it out as well. But you feel that. Rewrite the music, redo the music, so that now you can express those lyrics your way. So again, you want something that, the way to catch, for a new artist, the way you want to catch people's attention, because it is so difficult to get into the industry, is to do a cover. But do a cover the way you're going to do it, the way you feel it, the way you enjoy it, the way you know how to play your instrument, and the listener will associate the lyrics with, hey, that was I've heard that song before. Who was that? Oh yeah, that's an old blah 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 song. Wow, that is amazing the way that they did it. And then it's accepted. It's easier to accept a cover that way, because then why are we congratulating people for sounding like somebody else? The original person who released that song created that. They created that. So now we're just mimicking them by doing something they've already done. So it's a double edged sword. People want something they're familiar with, but at the same time, do it your own way, so that you've at least put your own print and your own stamp on it, and you can stand on your own. You can fight. You can fend for yourself. In other words, but covers are necessary, and I released a song, and again we're gonna plug that in there. A famous Emilio Navaira song, "Fíjate Mama." And again with my producer Eddie Perez, when I went back, years later to record a single to release, that song was hitting me because let's say I was in a relationship that just didn't seem to have the love that I was used to. Mom would you show up and mom makes you tortillas and cooks for you and make sure you ate the whole thing, and I couldn't even get a damn hot dog out of this woman. You know what I mean? And so I started to think, dang it, this just isn't something about this isn't right. And then I heard "Fíjate Mama," where the lyrics are talking about how he would rather be his son, her son, than to be this in the relationship with this woman, and he's always constantly in trouble with her. That resonated with me, but we took it to the studio and we completely converted it. The lyrics remain the same, the melody is pretty much the same, or the flow of the lyrics are the same, but the music was completely changed out. So you guys got to listen to that one, "Fíjate Mama" by Jose, and you'll find it up there as well. But covers are necessary, just make sure you put your own print on it. Yeah, for sure.
And that's kind of been the consensus. Is sometimes there's others that don't know that that is a cover. That they'll be like, "Oh, that's Marcos Orozco," or "That's so and so." No, if you really know the true song, he just made it his own to where you think
Yeah,
that he's the original. So we've kind of
yeah,
had to talk about that, and I love your stance on it because I think it is very important. Right there on the
absolutely.
bottom, y'all. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just
Mhm.
agreeing with you. Yeah, absolutely, it should be that way.
No,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
we're gonna find his.
One more take on the covers. They are very necessary. And last week, we had a guest on. We're talking about, how basic kind of touched on what we touched on there, how the music survives for all these years. Like I brought up José Jimenez, people still cover his songs. Brought up a Juan Gabriel song, and I was like, man, where have I heard that song before? Sure enough, I listen to Spanish rock as well. And I was like, wait a minute, Los Caifanes covered that song. I did not know that was Juan Gabriel. I thought that
Mhm.
was Los Caifanes, but no. And then I started listening and I was like, holy crap. So, it comes a long way, and it's very
Yeah.
necessary because it crosses so many different thresholds, and it, or
Hmm.
whatever you want to call genres, thresholds, it crosses so many and it introduces people, hey, this person sings it too for this genre. It brings a different
Yeah.
spotlight, it really does.
Agreed. And you're introducing yourself. If that's how you're going to introduce yourself, um, by doing a cover, but doing the cover your way. I mean, that does say a lot as well, because you can take something that has already been imprinted in people's heads for years
Yeah.
and years and years, but yet you found your own way of taking that same lyric and making it your own. Then it's like, hey, these guys are trying to get our attention. They got my attention and they sound pretty darn good. And
Hmm.
now you're also complimenting the original artist who created that by that listener now going back and saying, hey, well, I thought I heard it, back here before. Like, oh, this is the original singer and it sounds good there too. So you're helping them with their, build up their
Yeah.
royalties, with
Amen.
Yeah.
radio
Yeah.
and whatnot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long as
You're
they do
right.
it, as long as they do it right, yes.
Yeah. No, you're
and
you're
so
100% right because it comes back down to business.
Yep. Yes.
that's what it is. And again, if I know there's a lot of musicians that think like I do, but we get lost in the spotlight, being on stage or being heard on the radio and watching our plays go up and up and up and up. That we need to make a decision also. Is we can't be wanting that spotlight because it's time for someone else. It's time to help bring someone else. And now let's take all of our pain and suffering, even though we say we hate this, we hate being an artist, we hate this industry or whatnot. We're still tercos and we're still there. You don't have to. You
Yeah.
don't have to hate it. Just shift your mind and now put your business mind to work for that artist and let them perform and you push them. And that again, that could be whether you create a formula to be able to uh, add new artists at a certain time every year, or you become that label and that very, very, very qualified label that will be accepted within the new boundaries or the new rules. to help your artists grow even further. And I'd like to talk with someone about that someday. We can make that
Oh,
happen.
you need it, man. You
We'll
need
do a
to.
part two with we'll bring some other people on here and we'll
Yeah.
get some
We'll
good
bring some people
conversation.
from behind the curtain. No, that would make a
Yeah.
very, very good conversation, man.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
It would
Well,
be great.
if you guys look at the bottom, it has his name. Jose has a little, I don't know what it's called. We're still trying
We
to
still haven't
figure it
figured that
out.
out, huh?
Or whatever that little line is, it be sure to follow him. In order to find him. Sorry, I'm going to change it back. In order to find, you have to use that little Jose thing at the end. We're going to call it the Jose thing. To find him on all the music media platforms. So go find right here. I'm going to put this on here. On all the music media platforms, Jose with the little sign at the end. Go find it. We're gonna drop his newest song right now. Let's check it out together. Let's check it out. Do you want to introduce the song for us?
Sure. Hey, well, so this is a song that I've been holding on for a little bit because again, I've been in hiatus trying to help other musicians come up to have the same opportunities that all of us have had. And in the process, time flows by and whatnot. And so this song, the title is "Quédate," means stay. And you'll hear the pleading in the lyrics. It's more sentimental of please stay. Don't go, don't go, don't leave. And I found hurt in not necessarily for myself, but I my one of my uncles, one of my great uncles passed away, and obviously he leaves his family behind, my cousins, which we're all adults now. But I think I felt that for his wife it must have been so difficult, so hard. If I remember correctly, she was very young when they met, and they have been married. They had been married for so many years. So can you imagine how many memories, how much time spent together? All the things that they've done, the flows, the ups and downs of life and whatnot. So for me, I wrote this song for my aunt, for Irma Flores, to help her cope with the loss of her husband, which was my uncle. So Quédate is more of a romantic loss of a husband or a wife.
You can take
So
it. You can take it multiple ways. You can take it
mhm.
as a family leaving you or somebody else. But all right, let's
Yeah.
take a listen. This is Jose's new song called "Quédate."
Hey, ¿a dónde vas? Has decidido marcharte, es imposible olvidarte. ¿Qué hago con este amor? No, no te alejes de mí. Hay mucho de qué hablar. Ándale, vente a sentar. Conversaremos un rato. Qué rápido ha pasado el tiempo. Ni siquiera he notado los años. Y sé que no puedo detenerte, pero ¿qué hago sin ti? Quédate, sin ti no sé qué hacer. Eres mi vida, sin ti no respiro. Quédate, no soy capaz de entender, porque hoy te recoge el cielo. Si eres mi aire para vivir.
That is awesome. I loved it. I loved the lyrics. I was listening to it, just in what it said, and you could feel either way of that song, whether it be for someone that has left
Yeah,
us.
it could be a breakup. Yeah.
Yeah, or a breakup. It could be either one. That's a really that is a really good song. The first time I heard it, I was
A
like,
good
I like it.
song.
I like I like the tone of it. But you could feel the emotion behind it for sure.
I appreciate that. Uh, that's what I want to do. I just want to be able to express to people that, hey, man, be yourself, or to maybe to other artists as well. Be yourself. Let it out. It does not hurt anything with letting it out of your system and moving on to the next thing. Again, it all depends on what you're going through and what you're trying to say, man. Just get it out there. People are listening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And we go
well, I was
ahead.
gonna say we usually ask different artists what mindset to get into when you start writing something. When how does the idea strike you? And a lot of times, yeah, it is some kind of trauma, some kind of difficulty through life that just let that inspiration fire under them. In your case, you
Hmm.
shared what yours was earlier towards that song. That must have
Hmm.
been a hell of a different mindset right there, man. Because like you said, exposing it, you're basically opening yourself up to masses on something that you're personally dealing with in a very, very personal
Yeah.
level. So that took a lot of guts, man. Hats off to you.
Yeah. It does, man. It does. Absolutely. But again, I don't know how to do it any other way. I've always tried to be as honest as possible, even though that's gotten me in trouble a lot of times. Sometimes too much honesty is just some people can't handle it. But I mean, I just can't sugarcoat it. I cannot, because if I'm supposed to help somebody, I can't lie to you, man. I'm going to tell you straight up how it is, and not in a
Right.
mean way, but sometimes it ends up being difficult. So again, in order for me to have let feelings out like that on all the albums or singles that I've released, then I'm opening up myself to be hit with it as well. You know what I mean? So
Right.
if
No,
you're gonna dish it out,
absolutely,
you got
man.
to take it.
Yeah, like I said, every artist we've talked to said there's always something that was behind it. Not something, but there was always a situation in life that like I said lit that fire into them, uh, and the consensus always says it was a traumatic life experience. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I rarely hear a song that says, "Man, thought about this stumbling out of the bar, man." Because I mean, maybe back in the olden days, but nowadays, it's a
Yeah,
little bit different.
it's a little
It's
different.
it's just it's great that you guys take the courage to open that up. 'Cause when you hear about the story behind music, then you hear the music, the song, like we just heard it now, and you put yourself in that. You try to put yourself in that mindset, like, no, this guy really put it out there for us on this man, and it's jamming. It's freaking jamming. He put a good melody to a very
Appreciate that.
traumatic situation.
Appreciate that. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all.
Again,
You had
it's
some good
to let
comments in
people.
there.
What's that?
They had some good comments about the song. Joel Johnson said, "Wow." DJ Andres said, "That's a really good song." Elias said, "Jam." So you're getting some good
Nice.
feedback
Thank you.
just from
I
right here
appreciate
in
that,
the
guys.
moment.
I appreciate that from everyone. And I'll tell you guys what, since we've got everybody on here, go over to, Spotify. Go look it up. Go look up Jose. And if you guys are liking that song, there's several others, that relate to whatever situation you've been through. Because whether people will are able to express themselves or able to identify with that, everybody goes through something, any kind of deal. I mean, it could be anything, and most of the time, I've already been through it too. Maybe I'm older, so I'm already been through more stuff. But if you do listen, I'm sure you can relate to a whole bunch of music, and that's all I'm trying to do is let people know that it's okay to go through what you're going through, get through it, and then do your best to not fall back into it, whatever it may be.
And
So
by
if
the
you're
way, I mean, you told us how old you were, and I deeply dispute that right now. 'Cause you,
Why's
you
that?
don't look it, man. You don't look it, bro. So,
I
wear that
appreciate
feather in
that. I
your hat as well,
appreciate that.
man. Yeah, well,
I
that's why I don't
appreciate
take
that.
off. That's why I don't take off my hat.
So if y'all are just joining us, Jose out here from Kennedy, Texas. Welcome everybody. I want to thank everybody that's tuned in. Really quickly, Jose, before I did get Fíjate Mama uploaded, so I want to showcase
Yes.
that for you real quick.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
yeah, because Elias just asked for another song of yours, so I did get another
Nice.
one
I
uploaded.
appreciate that.
Before
Thank
I
you,
do
Lai.
that, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, if you don't mind. Let's Talk Tejano has a sponsor called A Fuego Lento Seasoning. They firmly believe in everything that we're doing here with Let's Talk Tejano. So if you are a griller, a cooker, any of that, a chef, any of that, and you need some seasoning, a fuego lento seasoning, they are amazing. Like I said, they firmly believe in everything that we're doing here at Let's Talk Tejano with Serious Tejano. Go to afuegolento.shop. Go check out all of their seasoning, their knives. They have some apparel. They have a giveaway right now. You could win a grill or $1,000. It's like a Santa Maria grill or $1,000. They still have tickets
Wow.
available. And they also donated to one of our raffles. They are amazing. So
Nice.
afuegolento.shop. Big salutes to Rudy out there. We definitely appreciate everything he's done. And if you do shop at afuegolento.shop and use Tejano20 as your discount code, you get 20% off. So that covers like your shipping and some taxes there. So y'all go check it out. But we do appreciate everything that Afuego Lento Seasoning has done for Let's Talk Tejano and Serious Tejano as well. We definitely appreciate it. So thank you. I'm just gonna give shout outs to Austin. We have Colorado. We have Teresa out there. Thank you so much, Teresa. Michigan, Colorado. They did request another song, so I am gonna put that on for us. I appreciate everybody that is commenting. If you have a question for Jose, put it in the chat and we will read it for you. We're trying to showcase them so he can read them as well, but we will make sure that your question gets asked. So if you have a question for him, definitely put it in the comments here. And then you can follow him. Do you have all the social medias, or are you just on the
Nope,
Facebook?
no, it's all there. It's all there. I mean, you want to do TikTok, you want to do obviously Facebook, YouTube, the whole deal. It's all there. You'll
All
find me again. Remember our little
the
sprinkly,
Jose
or what
with
do we call it? With the
the
and you'll find
the
me.
Jose
And you know
with
what I found is that going to Spotify, if you just use the little apostrophe after the e, that sends you right to it as well. So if that's the easiest way to do it, that's fine.
yeah, I did find you once I put that little at the end. So you guys are gonna remember that forever. We've discussed a lot of hot topics here, and if you are coming just now to the interview, the show here, he has a rich history in the music. His family is deeply rooted, and he comes from a long line of talented individuals. But I think you've made it your own. I think you've come out and showcased what you have and what you have to offer. But not only that, but you're ready to share that with others, which is vital for our cultura, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if anybody, so I want to ask you if anybody wants to work with you or duet with you or, ask you some questions, are you available to them?
I am absolutely. I think, as they say, only serious requests or serious whatever. Yeah, I mean, if you're ready to play ball and you really want the assistance, or you want some knowledge, guidance, or really going into the studio, absolutely, 100%. Whatever I can do to help a fellow artist, or a up and coming artist, or a future artist, or you just want to have some fun and shoot some doves with the shotgun and discuss music. Hey, I'll come out to your ranch as well. You provide the shotguns and the beer, and I'll shoot the birds.
Oh, Jose, all the way to my heart.
Joel Johnson said he wants your jacket.
Who said that?
Joel Johnson wants your jacket.
Joel Johnson. We'll have to maybe get a raffle going here, huh?
There you go.
There you go.
There you go, Joel. We definitely will make that happen for you. It is a nice jacket. I've seen it.
Appreciate that.
You had me at shooting something.
The ranch.
right
He
around the
does
corner.
have a ranch that we want to talk about. But first,
Oh, yeah.
before I move to that, I want to hear the other song that Jose talked about, which was "Fíjate Mamá." So let's check that out, okay? "Fíjate Mamá" by Jose, right here. I gotta unmute. Hold on. I guess you gotta unmute things.
Would work.
Whatever. Okay, let's see.
Yo prefiero ser tu hijo y no su esposo. Fíjate, mamá, ella me tira loco. Yo prefiero ser tu hijo y no su esposo. Me tienes muy mal en puesto. Ya ahora que me casé, encuentro los calcetines allí donde los dejé. Le digo que tengo ganas de una carnita asada. Me dice déjame sola, no miras que estoy cansada. Fíjate mamá, ella me tira loco. Fíjate mamá, yo prefiero ser tu hijo y no su esposo. Fíjate mamá, ella me tira loco. Fíjate mamá, yo prefiero ser tu hijo y no su esposo. No conocen ni la plancha, no saben lo que es barrer. Me pongo a hacer un almuerzo, me dices a mí también. Ay mamá, cómo te extraño, no sé qué voy a hacer. Y ahora que soy casado, me ponen a hacer qué hacer. Fíjate mamá, ella me tira loco. Fíjate mamá, yo prefiero ser tu hijo y no su esposo. Fíjate mamá, ella me tira loco. Fíjate mamá, yo prefiero ser tu hijo y no su esposo.
I really like that version. Like you put your own spin to it. That is what we were talking about earlier. Putting your own spin, your own
Yeah,
taste to it. And that is, I think, vital. It's okay to showcase other artists and celebrate them and honor them, but put it in your own style. And you did that
absolutely.
exactly here with Fíjate Mama.
I appreciate that. Yep. Yep.
Absolutely. It sounds awesome, man. It's an awesome
Appreciate that.
song. Good work.
Thank you. Thank you.
All the music media platforms. Go find Jose with the little at the end, and you can find all his songs on there. Request it, download, stream, and definitely heart anything that you see on there. Repost, reshare. Use his music. We want to get it out there. He is definitely not a new artist, but he has new music, and that's the difference. We have new music and new artists. Sometimes they go hand in hand, but sometimes we have an artist that's been in the business for a long time and they just have new music. That's a whole different topic that
Yeah.
we sometimes people are like the new Tejano is not good or whatever their opinions are, and I'm like, but we have artists that have been in the business making new music. Are you not liking the new style? Like, because they're like new Tejano isn't good, and I'm like, but you have artists like Jay and DLG and all these bands that are making new music. Are you saying that music's not good? So I always get a little offended. I have to hold back a
Yeah.
little bit sometimes because I'm like, which artists are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
So definitely not new to the business. You've been a part of the industry for a very long time, and you have a lot of great insight, opinion, and talent to share with everybody. And we are so glad that you're here with us tonight. I do want to kind of talk about you have pictures on your Facebook here of and I don't know that there's a way I can bring them up here. I'm going to try. But of your ranch. Talk about a ranch a little bit outside of the music, what you do and what you're working on.
Sure. Okay. So yeah. So I'm in Kennedy, Texas, right? And I have a ranch out here. So I was able to work very hard, very fast. I've always been pretty quick about things, but I was able to be a salesman for 25 plus years and try to get that over as quickly as possible so that I could move on to the next phase, which was music has always been there, but I was always just wanting to get out of the city and getting into the country and being able to produce cattle. Again, producing cattle in the form of beef, right? I mean, I think that's the highest demand that there is right now is beef, whether it be hamburgers, fajitas, steaks or whatever it is.
Now I'm
When I
hungry.
learned,
Now I'm hungry.
yeah. When I started to learn about that business, it's hard to do. I mean, there's generations and generations that have not just been handed to them, that they have worked themselves to be able to inherit it, to keep it going for their family. So it's very difficult to come in as a first generation rancher, to buy the land, to buy the cattle, to buy all the equipment to be able to do it. That that it sort of just became a passion of mine as well, to be able to feed my own cattle with my own hay, do the work myself, and be able to produce the animal that, of course, will be accepted by the USDA to be able to provide beef to the general public, to everyone, to all of us. Just doing my part as well to uh, help everyone go to HEB and get their beef for the weekend and have their cookouts.
I'm
No,
showcasing it a
absolutely.
little bit. Hope y'all can see it, but this is the cows out there.
Yeah, that
And
is.
Zay, I've actually been looking. I mean, I grill almost. Well, I grill every weekend, dude, from Friday to
Uh
Sunday.
huh. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one thing I started looking at online is, getting, just buying half a cattle. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
buying half a cattle, get it, quartered or whatever, cut, and have that meat in my deep freezer for whatever. I started
Mhm.
looking into that because it's pretty cost effective when I start doing the numbers. It really
Yeah,
is,
it
and
can be. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, and you're
I,
getting so much more, and you're getting it not being so processed, or
right,
fed all
exactly.
kinds of hormones. So yeah, doing something like that and being able to find a rancher who does stuff like that, absolutely, absolutely, it saves. I mean, it is expensive when you put
Right. Yeah.
pencil to
Off the bat,
paper,
yes, but
but
in the long run, it saves you money.
in the long run, it saves you a lot of money, and absolutely, you're getting way more for your dollar than you are, unfortunately, when you go to HEB or any other
Right.
grocery store. So, yeah, but yeah,
Absolutely.
that is
But
a
if
that's a
you get
pretty
a
good deal,
runt
man.
running around, just let me know.
Yeah, I'll go check the back 40 real quick and
Yeah, there
see.
you go. If you just I'll throw runt. I'll make something out of it.
So they,
uh,
they said the grill's gonna come in handy, and the seasoning will come in handy and handle. And oh my gosh, it'll come in you. So yeah, definitely. But that is really cool. I was looking at the pictures so y'all can see a little bit. But go follow Jose on Facebook and TikTok, and learn a little bit more about his business outside of the music, because it's important for us to know what we do. I mean, we all have a real job sometimes, we all have real
yeah.
work that we're working on.
Yeah. I got to dress up right now. Trust me. Most of the time, it's cowboy hat, torn up jeans, and holes in my boots, and just trying to get the day done. So I can't wait for the weather to change, because it has been ridiculous, out
Yeah.
there.
And imagine out there, not with all the cows and everything like that. Well, I definitely appreciate your time, George. Do you have any final questions you want to ask Jose?
Now I think we pretty much covered it because I want to leave some part two. I
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah,
Mary both and I would love to have you back again, man. And if you want to bring somebody on
absolutely.
with you, we're more welcome. But we definitely need a part with you, man. Because it seems
Great,
like there's
great.
so much more to build on of as far as what you already told us, and then obviously the new music coming out, man. Love to hear about your future projects as well.
Appreciate that. I think what would work out best, and I'd leave it up to you two guys, is to schedule a date, get on the phone with Stephanie Montiel so that we can present Hasta Nunca to you guys and get her perspective and mind of that song. And then you guys listen to the song, and I think that will get everybody back in love again. Or at
No
least
one.
keep them from divorcing.
Yeah, yeah. At least for a while longer.
Wait, I want to hear how you sing her part though.
I was gonna say, man, if you convince somebody that that female part sounded good, you must have really put some pipes into it, man.
you know,
Maybe in
I, I,
part
I
two, we'll have him sing the girl part and
Yeah,
have
the
yeah.
Stephanie
acapella.
No,
sing
that's
it.
why we'll have Stephanie on, so she can do it. She can do it herself. But
But I
I
think I
think
want
the
to hear
reason
you.
I think I did it, and when her team heard it, they're like, "Oh, let's help this poor guy out.
Help
Let's
him
do
out. He needs all
it."
the help he
Yeah,
can get. Ay, ay. Well, I appreciate you. I know I got to meet you in March, and then here
yeah,
in Grand Prairie, you welcomed me
yeah.
into your little familia's
Sure.
area. So
Yeah.
thank you
Heck
so
yeah.
much. Yeah, we'll definitely set up a part two. Maybe we can get Stephanie Montiel. Y'all make it
Yeah.
happen. Help us out. Tell her she needs to come on Let's Talk to Hano as well. If there's any other artists that you would like us to showcase, just send us a message. You can send it to Sirius Tejano, or you can send it to me, Miss Mary, or George Medina, DJ Elite. We're missing him tonight. But I want to thank you all for joining us. And Jose, thank you so much for joining us tonight, taking
You bet.
time out of your busy
You bet.
schedule. This has been a long time coming. We've been talking about it for some
Yeah.
time. And I do
Yes.
appreciate you making the time this evening to talk about your
You bet.
newest song. Quédate on all the social media or music media platforms. Follow him on the social medias. But very talented, a lot of information, and I can't wait for the part two so that we can learn a little
Yeah,
bit more. Happy birthday to
absolutely.
your father and to your brother. We look forward to talking with your brother tomorrow on Let's Talk
Nice.
Tejano. You are amazing. Thank you so much. And
Thank you, guys.
anytime you want to come on the show, you're welcome. Just reach out.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Definitely, definitely. Let's see what I can do on my side, and if you guys hit her on that side, and we get everybody who was listening today to hit her up as well, let's see if we can't make that happen. I don't think we had the opportunity to interview together and really push that song, so I think this would be a great opportunity. So we'll see what we can do.
Most
Good
definitely.
idea. Good
Any
idea.
saludos you want to give out, Jose, before you drop off?
Is there? I'm sorry. What?
Any saludos or shout outs that you want to give out?
Well, to all the musicians out there that I haven't seen in a while because I've been, on my ranch busy. To all my brothers in the music and sisters in the music, hey, what's up, guys? I'm still here. I'm just getting older. That's all. That's all that's changed. Haven't been in hiding. I've been in preparation for whatever is next. And like I've always said, guys, put God first, and everything will work out for y'all.
Most definitely. Well, the talented George, do you want to say anything?
No, I mean it's great, man. Like I said, I appreciate you coming in tonight, man. It's especially on the Monday. I know everybody's getting their week started, and appreciate you setting some time aside for us, and we'll forever be grateful for that, and definitely look forward to part two, man.
You got it, brother. I called the boss and said I needed the rest of the afternoon off, and he said,
Yes.
"Don't make it a habit, but you'll be all right."
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you drop off. Have a great rest of your night. Be safe,
Thank you,
and we
guys.
will look forward to talking to you very soon.
You bet. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Let me see. There we go. All right. Let's see. That was so much fun. I gotta learn how to work this thing.
I think you and I were pressing the buttons at the same time.
I was on the other side. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all so much. That was so much fun. Like I said, if there's any artists that you all want us to interview or bring on the show, just send us a message and we will work on it. Can't guarantee everybody. He does have a lot of information. I want to thank everybody for the comments, the shares, the questions that you all had in there. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Leslie, Mel, Eli, DJ Andres, Terry, Teresa, Anna, everybody that dropped in here, Mel. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Thank you to Sirius Tejano, Joe, Crystal City in the house. Thank you so much. Anything you want to say, George?
No, just thank you to everybody for being in tonight, and we got a double head. We got it tomorrow as well. We're gonna have Mr. Santo
Santiago
Garza,
Garza. Santiago Garza, his brother,
the
is going to be with
the
us.
sibling who will be. Did he say his birthday was today or tomorrow?
His birthday's today.
Today. Okay, well, we'll be wishing a happy belated birthday tomorrow, but definitely great night. Great way to start off the week with you guys. Talking about music, talking about what we love, and so tomorrow.
Yes, have a great rest of your safe. Stay safe. That's what I meant to say. Have a great rest of your night. Be safe. And go check out our pages, George's page, my page, for a raffle that we are giving away with one of these shirts, a cup, a koozie, and a hat. So, y'all go look at the raffle if you want a number in there. Go look at our page, message us for information. Have a great rest of your night. Thank you to Sirius Tejano, A Fuego Lento Seasoning. Have a great rest of your night.